Hello everybody, this is Demographia and today I'll be talking about fake races. So, I just realized this is the first video which I've made in less than a month. What I mean by that is that usually every video is 1 month after the previous one, but this is the first one which is only 2 weeks after my last video. So that's good, but that's also because this video is going to be shorter. As it is not a video about race, and so I didn't need to do as much research. Anyways, although I explained in my video about race, the channel trailer, what is race and does it exist, which by the way is the only video I have which has over 100 views, but the video about who are East Asians is only one view away from getting 100 views. So if one person could go watch the East Asian video, that would be great so I can reach 100. Anyways, when I explained in my video about race that race does exist, there are many races that don't actually exist. If you are confused, then this video is for you. In my video about race, I said I believe that there are 9 races. This isn't a fact and can be debatable with the amount of races depending on who you ask. However, most people can agree that there are several races nonetheless. However, there are many races that don't exist or are made up. I'll explain. According to me, the races of the world are East Asian, South Asian, European, African, Middle Eastern, Southeast Asian, Native American, Central Asian, and Oceanian ones. And you also have multiracial people, but that's a whole other thing. But there are also many so-called races that don't actually exist. These include Asian, Chinese, Oriental, Yellow, Indian, Brown, White, Caucasian, Black, Arab, American Indian, Red, Aboriginal, Pacific Islander, Latino, and Hispanic. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us have used these terms at least once, but they are all inaccurate. I'll look at Chinese first. Chinese isn't a race. Many times people use Chinese to refer to all East Asian people. However, East Asian people could also be from Japan, North Korea, South Korea, Mongolia, Russia, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, etc. However, people also use Chinese to refer to an ethnicity. Although using Han would be better since that is their name, many times people also use Chinese to refer to Han people. Just as mentioned earlier, Chinese is more of a nationality, and Han people, or as they're often called Chinese people, make up 91% of China's population. Although this is enormous, especially since China has the largest population on Earth, there are many non-Han ethnicities in China such as the Chuang people, Manchu people, Uyghur people, Miao people, there's an actual group called the Miao people, Yi people, Tujia people, etc. Although most East Asian people are from China, Chinese is a nationality and not a race. Even if we decide that Chinese was an ethnicity, it would still not be a race as there is a difference between the two. You need many different ethnicities to make a race. However, don't worry since I will soon make a video about the differences between the two. I have no problem with the Chinese, but it can't be used to refer to a race and should only be used for people from China, or maybe to refer to Han people. Not everyone from a race is just from one country. Then I'll look at Asian. Asian definitely isn't a race and is honestly one of the most stupid races that has ever been invented. Asia is by far the most racially diverse place in the entire world, and yet somehow people have decided that all Asians are just one race. Now we all know that Asian refers to East Asian people, but East Asian people are nowhere close to being a large majority in Asia. There are also South Asian people, Southeast Asian people, Oceanian people, Central Asian people, and Middle Eastern people. This means that there are 7 races in one continent, yet it is that continent where everyone's just lumped into one race. I have no problem with the word Asian, but it's only okay if it's not used as a name for a race and includes all people from the continent of Asia. Now, I also don't think that Asia should be a continent, but that's something to do with geography, and that's not what my channel is about. East Asian people are called East Asian people to be distinguished from other Asians, and we should not forget there are many other races in Asia. Not all Asians are East Asian people. Now, let's look at Oriental. Though Oriental isn't used much anymore, it is even more stupid than Asian. Oriental means Eastern, but what does Eastern even mean? Where does the East start? East of what? Europe? If we're starting in the Americas, Asians are not Eastern, but Western. The East is not a place. Now, even if we agree that the East is anywhere east of Europe, that also creates problems. The Americas are also east of Europe, since they're east of Asia, which is east of Europe. But let's just agree that East is Asia. Well, this once again creates the same problem with Asia, since once again, Asian is not a race. Now I'll look at yellow. Though yellow isn't used much anymore, it's even more stupid than Oriental. People don't have yellow skin. East Asian people's skin color is much more similar to that of European people. People do not look like Lego. Yellow race is just based on skin color that doesn't even exist. Now we'll look at Indian. Now when I say Indian in this context, I mean from India. I'll get to the more common so-called Indian race later. Although it isn't used that much, many times people will use Indian to refer to all South Asian people. However, South Asian people could also be from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Guyana, Suriname, etc. Although most South Asians are from India, Indian is a nationality and not a race. As I said again, I have no problem with Indian, but it can't be used to refer to a race and should only be used for people from the country of India. Not everyone from a race is from one country. Now I'll look at brown people. Although it isn't used that much, it is definitely the most stupid race that's ever been invented. All people are part of the brown race, since literally all people's skin color is a shade of brown. Basically, skin color comes from the amount of melanin in your body. The higher the amount of melanin is, the darker your skin, and the lower the amount of melanin is, the lighter your skin is. However, all people, no matter how pale they are, even albinos, have some of it. Same goes for dark skin. Nobody has completely black skin, just extremely dark brown skin, just like how nobody has white skin, but just extremely light brown skin. That's why I always say in the beginning of my videos that every race has some shade of brown. Therefore, everyone is brown. Plus, what even is brown? Depending on who you ask, the answer differs greatly. For some people, brown people is just another way of saying South Asian people. For others, it could also include Middle Eastern people, Southeast Asian people, and Oceanian people. For most people, it either means all races except African people, East Asian people, and European people. However, many times African people are also included. Sometimes even East Asian people are included. The most broad term could even include some Europeans, such as Italic peoples. It's obvious what the problem with brown is. It's a very vague and unclear race. Nobody knows who is brown and who isn't, and most importantly, literally everyone is brown. Next, I'll look at white. Now, compared to many other races on this list, it isn't that inaccurate, but there still is a problem. First of all, white refers to skin color rather than race. Although everyone means European people when referring to white people, the problem is that most East Asian people have white skin, which in some cases is even lighter than that of European people. Then the other problem with this is, once again, as I said, all skin colors are shades of brown and nobody has literal white skin. Next, I'll look at Caucasian. Now, unlike white, this does have problems and is definitely one of the stupidest races that were ever invented. Caucasian is another word for European people, but it's also very inaccurate. The simple reason is that European people aren't even native to the Caucasus, and the actual Caucasians aren't even European people, but are Middle Eastern people. I have no problem with the word Caucasian, but it shouldn't be used to describe European people since they aren't even from the Caucasus, and instead should only describe people from the Caucasus. Next, I will look at black. Now, just like white, this isn't too inaccurate, but does have the same problems as white. Just like white, black is about skin color, not race. Although everyone is referring to African people when they say black, many Oceanian people could also be considered black since they have black skin. Also, once again, nobody actually has black skin since all skin colors are shades of brown. Next, I'll look at Arab. Now, the problem with Arab is that it's an ethnicity, not a race. Now, just in case you forgot, a race is made up of several ethnicities, and Arab people are just one of the many ethnicities that make up the Middle Eastern race. Now, not all Middle Eastern people are Arab, and Arab shouldn't be a term that's used to refer to all Middle Eastern people. I have no problem with the word Arab, but once again, should only be used to refer to that ethnicity and not to all Middle Eastern people. Not everyone from a race is from one ethnic group. Next, I'll look at the other Indian. Now, when someone says Indian, I usually think of someone from India, but many people, especially in the Americas, think of Native American people. However, Indian is definitely one of the stupidest races that's ever been invented. Obviously, the biggest problem being that Native American people don't even come from India or anywhere near it. Indian people aren't even Native American, but are South Asian. I have no problem with Indian, as I said earlier, but once again, it should only be used to refer to people from India, and definitely not people half a world away. And then you have people who decide, well, okay, yeah, Indian's kind of dumb, so let's use American Indian or Amerindian. However, although this does help distinct them from real Indians, the problem is still the fact that Native Americans have no connection whatsoever with India, so what's the point of putting Indian in there? Next, I'll look at red. Though red isn't used much anymore, it's even more stupid than Indian. Nobody has red skin. Native American people have brown skin. Red is based on a skin color that doesn't even exist. Next, I'll look at Aboriginal. Now, the problem with Aboriginal is that it's a subrace, not a race. Now, what is a subrace, you might be asking? Well, basically, a subrace is a group of ethnicities. But isn't that a race? Well, not exactly. Basically, the difference is that subraces are a group of ethnicities that are related but aren't different enough from other groups to form their own race. However, I'll go more into detail on my next video, my special video, so whenever I reach 100 subscribers. Now, anyways, although Aboriginal peoples is used sometimes to refer to all Oceanian people, not all Oceanian people are Aboriginal peoples, so Aboriginal shouldn't be used to refer to all of them. I have no problem with Aboriginal once again, but it shouldn't be used to refer to a whole race, but only to that subrace, because not everyone in a race is from one subrace, which is obviously why it's called a subrace, because it's just part of a race. Now, let's look at Pacific Islander. Pacific Islander is usually used to refer to Oceanian people, but once again is another very dumb race. However, the problem with this is that not all people native to the islands in the Pacific are actually Oceanian people. East Asian people and Southeast Asian people are also native to many islands in this ocean. Not only that, but in fact the vast majority of people from islands in the Pacific are Southeast Asian people, and to a lesser extent East Asian people. Oceanian people, in fact, are a minority in the Pacific. Obviously, this is why Pacific Islander isn't a correct term to use, since you're actually more likely to be referring to a Southeast Asian or East Asian person when you say Pacific Islander than Oceanian person. Now, I have no problem with the term, but once again, it needs to be used only to refer to people from islands in the Pacific rather than Oceanian people. Now let's look at Latino. Now, Latino is definitely one of the dumbest races that was ever invented. Latino is used to refer to basically everyone from Latin America. Well, the first problem is what even is Latin America? Latin America is usually used to refer to all Spanish-speaking countries in the Americas and Brazil. However, other people also include Spain and all countries in the Americas apart from the United States and Canada, even though many of these countries were never colonized by Spain and don't speak Spanish. However, let's just decide to use this definition for Latino. Well, the biggest problem is that Latin America is not racially homogeneous in any way. There are European Latinos, African Latinos, multiracial Latinos, Native American Latinos, even South Asian Latinos. It's ridiculous to consider all of these groups as one race just because they have a similar culture and language. Actually, many of these countries, especially in the Caribbean, don't even speak Spanish. Now, how is it that just because you speak Spanish, automatically a European and African person are the same race, when there's obviously an enormous difference between the two? Now, on top of all that, Latin doesn't even come from Spain, and if we're referring to countries that speak languages based on Latin, then Italians, Frenchmen, Portuguese people, Moldovans, Romanians, and many Belgians could also be called Latinos. Plus, there's the fact that Spanish people are treated as a different race, even though they're exactly the same race as everyone else in Europe. Now, as you can tell, this race has no basis on facts and is completely made up and should never be used for anything. It's ridiculous that people of 4 different races can all just be called one. However, I do understand that many times Latino is used to refer to multiracial people from Latin America, especially mestizo people who are half Native American, half European. However, mestizo people are an ethnic group, and not all so-called Latinos are mestizo people. Therefore, Latino is not a race in any way, since anybody of any race from Latin America could be a Latino. And just remember that Latin America has many different races. And finally, to finish off, we have Hispanic. Now, Hispanic is even dumber than Latino. Basically, it's Latino, but it also includes Spain and the Caribbean for sure. Once again, Hispanic is in no way a race, and people from so-called Hispanic race could be many different races, including European, African, Native American, South Asian, or multiracial. Once again, Hispanic is made up and groups many different races together. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. What race do you think is the dumbest one? Well, don't forget to take the survey on the top right corner. And please, guys, please take the survey. Anyways, before you leave, I really want to thank all the new subscribers. I was going to make this my 50 subscriber special, but I got so many subscribers that by the time this was ready, I already had 75. It's really amazing how many subscribers I got recently. Some days I was even getting 6 subscribers. For a very long time, I was trying really hard to get subscribers, and then all of a sudden, I was getting several every day, starting a month ago. Now, although I I'm not getting that many new subscribers anymore. I've definitely found some who are actually interested in demographics, while my early subscribers mainly came from Micah History. Now, who is Micah History, you might be asking? Well, that's my second channel, which is obviously about history. Now that I have so many new subscribers, most of you guys don't know about it. So if you aren't already subscribed to Micah History, please subscribe. It would really mean a lot. I've got like 50 new subscribers in the last month, and probably none of you have heard of it. So guys, please, 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 please check out Micah History and subscribe. That really makes me happy. Anyways, once again, thank you so much for helping me reach 75 subscribers. I had no idea I would reach it this early and this quickly. I'm really grateful. And so don't forget to do the two things: take the survey, and more importantly, check out Micah History and subscribe. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.